One of the things that that I wrote in the agenda this evening was, is it me or was it really conspicuous in its absence to have nothing about 349 in either of those, the NPRM or the ANPRM?
I'm curious if their objective right now is to sort out the 107 commercial, so that package delivery and all that kind of stuff can make some headway.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And
and
my thinking is they've got a DJI executive on the drone advisory committee. So if you read the two documents, it's like, whoa, this is ideal for DJI.
yeah, and we definitely need some hobbyist representation out there. I
Yeah.
don't think the AMA is cutting it for us.
No, I agree. One of the things that was interesting is there's a the FAA is picking up on the 250 gram cutoff, and so there are three categories that are described in the NPRM: Category 1, Category 2, Category 3, and I had to chuckle about I was talking to Chad about this a little earlier. The amount they have, the FAA has, I think, cleverly established a kinetic energy threshold for Category 2 and 3, and so for a Category 2, they have an 11 foot-pound threshold, and let's see, what was was 59 foot-pounds for Europe, but that equates to a 1 pound drone hitting you at 27 miles an hour. So brisk, but pretty tough to slow a 1.5 pound drone down to 27 pounds, particularly if it's falling out of the sky from any height. But it's clever. And to me, it's clever and they encourage, they're the community. I don't know if you've had a chance to read the 206 page document, but they say, well, obviously you need to slow the thing down. So we either need to put speed limits, electronically on these devices, or come up with some type of device that slows the descent down, a parachute, whatever. So it's a pretty high bar from an engineering perspective, but they're putting something forward, and I got to applaud them for trying to solve the problem without being crazy restrictive. Okay.
One of the things I think that's happening is the Commercial Drone Alliance, they all have on their member list these companies that provide these types of technology. So one of them would be transponders, another one would be parachutes for drones, another one would be I'm trying to think of the other one, but if you go to their webpage and you actually explore the companies, they're all companies that provide these types of technologies. So it's almost like a lawmaking for profit kind of endeavor, it feels like. And that is definitely sketching me out.
Yeah, welcome to Washington, right? What is it?
I was going to say probably just business as usual.
Yeah, 80% of laws today are written by lobbyists. Commercial Drone Alliance, is that the organization, Josh?
Yeah, I'll pull up the webpage here in a second.
Okay. All right. Chad, are you with us? Okay, see, Chad, I think you're on mute. And how about...
I guess his computer's here, but he's not.
Yeah, that could be. Let's see, does he show... Yeah. Let me text Stephanie and see what her status is.
I'm here.
Oh,
She's
there you are. Okay. Great. We're worried that you're having microphone problems still.
No, it was the app. I had to force close it and then reopen it, and it was just
Oh.
being a pain. It kept knocking me out.
Turning it off
Forced-
and on again works every time.
I know,
Force-
right? And then I restarted my phone, and everything was fine. Imagine
Hmm. Sounds like our help desk.
that.
Okay. All right. So Josh must have his computer on speaker. We're hearing a fair amount of very fast typing.
Very authoritative typing, I might add.
Mm-hmm. It's not quite a buckle spring keyboard, but it's close.
It sounds
It's
like
my
he's writing a
gaming
letter to
keyboard.
somebody.
Ah, there you
The
go.
extra
It's a
kick.
mechanical keyboard.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
That happens to type very fast too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we I was in a graphics organization. We built engineering workstations for IBM. They were RISC powered. Not this was when RISC was way faster than anything Intel had. And let's see, so this was early 90s, and we used buckle spring keyboards, and they were loud, but they were so responsive. I'm trying to think we sold them for $500 a keyboard in
Good God.
1991, 92. Well, it was
Wow.
a $50,000 seat. So the workstation, the graphics, the monitor, keyboard was
Right.
about, that was the mid range, and then there was a high end that was about 100, 100 and a half, as in 1,000. And now that same graphics is on an iPhone 6, same speed.
The one thing I think that amazed me was that I read somewhere that the computer or the processor that was in an original Game Boy, the 8-bit Game Boy,
Mm-hmm.
was something like 50 times more powerful.
No, I lost Josh.
50 times more powerful than something.
That landed on the moon.
We lost you at
I really
50,
want to know what
50
happened
times.
between.
Yeah, Josh, we lost you at 50 times
Good.
more powerful than.
Can
I
you
was
hear
gonna
me
say
now?
the lander for
Yes,
the
we
moon,
can.
I believe.
Yeah,
the
it's
Apollo
the
mission.
lunar.
The lunar lander.
Wow. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love you guys.
Definitely rudiment. Yeah, we are such geeks. I love it. Okay. Let's see. So, thoughts on. So I saw the more specifically the ANPRM, which is soliciting input. To me, that's something we should take a crack at in terms of, well, okay, should we be providing responses? And maybe from a communications in the community, this is something we can say, so the FAA is soliciting feedback. Here's our feedback, edits and comments, and I'm interested in what this group thinks, because it's pretty dull and dry stuff. Is this something that I don't know, how do you make this interesting? I'm not really too sure. But just omitting it and glossing over it, I don't think is the path.
No, I think that we really need to dig into it and formulate, I think, amongst us all kind of a response. And I think AJ's got a good start on it. And I think that we really need to be involved with comments and whatnot. And we really need to kind of publish that message and out to the community so that they can respond as well. So the more power behind it, I think the message will come out clear.
Good, I like it. So let's see. We know that there's a 60-day response period. and we know that the document has not yet hit the Federal Register. So we've got 60 plus days. So if over the next couple days we put together our opinions, what's a good forum to get this out and disseminated? What's a platform? Do we, or maybe our Facebook page, maybe the Discord page as well, and then it would be nice to.
I don't know, Stymie. Can we formulate something and get it out on some of the podcasts and
Yeah, absolutely.
streams?
Just let me know what form you want to do it in, and I'll set it up.
Okay.
Because we have podcast access, we have live web streams that we have access to. Also our Facebook, plus our Twitter and our Instagram. But what we can do is we can, like, the main articles or the core of what it is for Twitter and Instagram, we'll only post the link back to the website. But
Yeah,
I think Facebook will be able to engage a little bit more.
create some bullet points that you guys can use when you're talking about it, to foster discussion on the topic.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get people involved in community discussion anymore on Facebook. It's like everybody's just on and off, or
Mm-hmm.
they get sidetracked by whatever Hogwarts house they belong to. So we gotta be creative. We gotta think about that, Josh. How are we gonna feed the masses?
Yeah, I mean, one thing we can do is we can, it's difficult now with the website not up, but once it's up, we can get blog posts going and whatnot on there, and we can
Wow.
backfeed that into posts and whatnot. So I think if we, it might be so simple as giving a quick blurb and popping the blog post in there for further information. But until that's up, we're kind of limited. But yeah, I mean, that would be a big part of it, I think.
I could imagine taking just one tiny point from the whole thing and sticking that into Twitter and Facebook and soliciting feedback on it. And then, a few days later, pick another small thing, see if you can get people to comment on it.
That's not a bad idea either. Just kind of break it up over a couple of days.
Yeah, I think that's good. We just build on what we get, and then that way we're not bombarded with statistics that we've got to figure out. Like, we can do it on, day to day. It would be a lot easier for me.
Okay. I like that idea as well. So over the next couple of days, we'll hopefully AJ is feeling better, and I'll go back over the document, come up with some responses, and if each of us can work on this.
Yeah, I'll dig into it this evening and see if I can't make some headway through it.
Okay. Okay. Let's try to use communicate via Discord or Messenger. And then if we need to, easy enough to get together. It's I'm going to be snowbound Sunday for sure.
Oh, lovely! I'll be available Sunday too. So
okay.
Well, I'll make sure that I'm available Sunday since everybody else can, because I hope we're
All
not
right.
getting any snow.
All right. Yeah. If anyone's a American football fan, then I know Sunday is they'll be interested in watching the two games. But we'll see how this goes. Then from there, we'll figure out how we. I really like Dan. I really like your idea. A little, one idea at a time. Get some feedback. I mean, certainly communicate that this is, one of whatever. We'll come up with probably 6, 7, 8 key ideas that we want to. We can get across the key points. So this is, one of 7, 1 of 8, 2 of 8, whatever. Okay. That's real. So it certainly the benefit of having the time to read it was I felt it was important, and the larger document, the ANPRM, is what, 26 or so pages, 20 some odd pages. So that's pretty easy. The other document over the safe flight of people and flying at night was 206 pages, so that was a little tougher. And that one, it appears that I'm not quite sure. I think when it gets published, um, it may not be up for comment. Is the difference between an NRPM and an ANPRM? I'm still learning. So
Yeah, I'm
will.
not sure. It's like I don't know if the advance notice is different from a regular NPR.
Yeah, don't know. Along those lines, AJ pointed out that I think that was in a note in Discord, that the FAA stated that they will establish the regulations for remote identification and one other, and then they will institute this fly safe over or fly over people plus fly at night regulation. And there was I found a link on the FAA site that described all of these various um, documents going out, and so the schedule for the RID one was May 21. Josh and Stephanie, you were both talking about that on Discord. I guess I wasn't clear on the first the way I described it at first, but to me that gives us some milestones in terms of how slow or how fast this is moving. It does to me seem that there's no information, and then poof, they drop a 200-page document that's on us. There's also great numerous references to this. I was going to say to the ARC, to this ARC. So this was a aircraft rules committee. This must be a thing in the FAA, because the authors of the larger document reference this absolutely regularly, and so it was interesting. So that would be another group to get a hold of. The other is the Drone Advisory Committee. I did submit Chad's name for that, and on that, if you search on DAC for the under FAA, there are minutes to the July 2018 meeting, and there are extensive description of personnel in the FAA, who's doing what, and so it's not tremendously clear, but it's part of our detective work. We now, out of that those minutes, there are probably 20 names, and there is an org chart, which of course is of infinite value when we're trying to figure out who does what to whom in the FAA. So I'm wandering a little bit. The ANPRM, we agree we should respond. We'll work on that over the next couple of days. I like Dan's idea, a couple points at a time. Potentially we get together on Sunday. Anything else on that topic? And I'll shut up for a while. Stephanie, I told my wife about your comment. That was essentially, we knew Dave was on mute because he shut up.
Probably lost signal.
She laughed. She really enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
All right. Okay. Communications. So I like the thoughts we had on the safety guidelines. I like the bullets, the 3 bullets that we developed, plus the catch line. Anything we should be doing now, and in fact, this may, as we work on the ANPRM response, we might be thinking about, this would be a good place to drop the bullets to talk about the guidelines. So anything we need to do this evening in terms of what is it that we need to get done in order to put a card together, uh, format the words, get it onto any one of our the communication platforms, or is this we probably should wait until we have the website up and live, because it's all about drive to the website.
I vote wait, because that is the point, is to drive traffic to the website. And if we're not live yet,
Yeah.
Yeah, we could possibly be embarrassed just
Yeah.
because lack of information there, or lack of content for people to go through.
Okay.
I vote wait.
Josh, do you have a view?
I think. Sorry, I'm dropping stuff in the chat here. I think we should wait as well. I think we can get all those cards put together, and I just need to drop them in a Word document and get them squared away. But we can get those put together and ready, and then when we're ready, we can get those printed and go forward from there. It shouldn't cost too much, especially if we go through like Vistaprint or something like that to get those printed up. I can't imagine.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to figure out where do we want to send them. Do we want to send them to a central place and then disseminate them from there? And where would that central place be? Because these are going to be a physical item that we're going to have to ship out, kind of thing. And how are we going to do that?
Right. Yeah. Stuffing envelopes. I can see it now. I'm up for it. I'm up for it. Legwork in the beginning is a requirement. I'm in.
Absolutely.
All right. Agreed. Stephanie, any updates on merchandise you wanted to provide the team? Are you on mute, Stephanie?
I don't even know what just happened. My phone just. I think I have to uninstall and reinstall the app on my phone. That's what I'm gonna do it later. Okay. What was the question?
The question was, did you want to provide any update on the merchandise story?
No, not really. I'm still looking into white label things like I talked to you about the other day, because otherwise we're not going to be able to do any add-ons for shipments. I'm so sorry. I have a very angry schnauzer right now.
No problem.
So I'll be quick. But yeah, so I'd still need to look into that. The options are leaning toward you already have to have a Shopify store, and these are the plugins for that print on demand and stuff. So I'm still kind of sorting that out, but we're still go with Teespring. As soon as I get some new vectors from Josh, whenever he has the chance, I'm gonna throw some new stuff on there and do some designs from that as well, like Josh and I talked about.
Okay. Any feedback from the artists on the second wave of artwork?
I don't even know.
Okay.
I've talked to a couple, two that I know that I can depend on. The other ones are getting kind of flaky. But so I've got that, and then I've got to get in touch with the guy about the challenge coins as well. That was my other thing.
Okay.
That I have to depend on.
And
yeah, I'll have that by if we hang out on Sunday. I'll have that by Sunday.
Okay. Okay. Did you see J.R. Pellegrini's T-shirt that he did for us in Quad Box? He's now put that up on Teespring, which I'm delighted.
Yes, he's pretty talented.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm thrilled that he'll want to work with us in some manner or fashion. His
right on.
photography work is as good as his artwork, and is as good as he is a person. He's a lovely person.
He is. He's absolutely wonderful.
Okay, I think that's good on merchandise. Did I hear Josh about to say something?
Nope, I'm good. Sorry, forgot.
Okay, no problem. Board of Directors organizational meeting. I learned that we do not have to wait for 501c3 approval to hold the organizational meeting. And so I'm going to schedule our first board meeting. And I want to break the agenda into two pieces. There are two board members that I really want to hear from. One is Jeff Thompson. The other is Tim Nilsson. Jeff Thompson is the CEO of Red Cat, and if Red Cat, as you may know, is a risk-based flight controller, as in risk processor. They've ported Betaflight over to it, and they're using blockchain to create a secure data file. They're to secure the file, image and video files on the device. We can talk about the market validity or usefulness of that, but that's what he's doing. Jeff's a successful guy. He's got a group of programmers they're affiliated with the University of Mayagüez in Puerto Rico. So a doer and a mover and shaker in the industry. And Tim Nilsson, as you may know, is the CEO of Get FPV. So my thought is that I want to get through the approvals quickly. It's effectively, and I want to send out a pre-read once we have a date. And so the idea being that, gentlemen, you've had an opportunity to read the material. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. And we need about 3 of those, so that's probably 10 minutes. And then I want to line up Chad to have to talk about where we're going, and I want to structure his comments. And I've asked him to, we'll keep it to 10 minutes, and then we want to listen a bit to Tim and to Jeff. And this is as much selling as anything. So we want to make sure that these guys understand that we're organized. We've got a plan, and we've got an idea of how we can take this on. So they walk away with the notion of, "Oof, this is this group is going to go." We want to build some enthusiasm. And part of it is we very much would like both of those CEOs to contribute some money to FPVFC. Jeff Thompson committed some 6-8 months ago to that, and hopefully we get Tim to contribute some cash as well. The idea then is that the moment we see we have approval from 501c3 with the organization completely legit and approved by the board of directors, would be a go to launch the website and get cracking on merchandise and go public and start operating. Thoughts or questions or comments on that?
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, sounds great.
I can't wait for that.
All right. And Stephanie, as I said the words coming out of my mouth, I was thinking about it, and I said, we'll be talking to the men on the board of directors, and it occurred to me it's all men.
Yep. So it's okay though.
Yeah,
I'm going to keep everybody honest.
So yeah, which we appreciate, and it's really important to me, and Josh and Dan, I've mentored young women for years in IBM, and I'm a super advocate. So anything, I'd like to carry that same spirit into FPVFC. Anything we can do to encourage young women to join FPVFC, we want to do.
Absolutely. I back you 100% on that.
All right. Okay. I wanted to pull in the membership. We talked about this this past Saturday. I wanted to put it into these notes. We were all on the phone. We all covered it. If Chad had made this evening, I was going to make sure that he knew what we're talking about with respect to $40 adult, $20 youth memberships, and we sized the potential first year. That was that all I had for this evening. Seems like I know I was rushing. I pushed through the ANPRM. Let's see. So anything else for anyone's mind on fallout from the Canadian regulations? It's just amazing. I have listened to Bruce Thompson, XJet, to a couple of his presentations on video about the Canadian regulations. I'm glad that he went. Instead of looking at news articles, he went back to, I guess, in Canada they call it the Gazette. I think that's analogous to our federal registry, and so that's where the repository for laws in Canada. So that's what we were looking at as well in terms of downloading the actual regulations. I do think that what really struck me as interesting is that in the FAA documents, they talked about, of course, Category 1 being under 250 grams. And if you're under 250 grams, there's no other restriction. They still want you to take the 107 test. And of course, if you fly an FPV quad in or FPV device aircraft in Canada and it's under 250 grams, there's little or no regulation. And that's the same clip level in the EU. So from two ways, from a perspective of pushing product, to me, it's put on my Rotor Riot hat for a moment, and it's like, wow, we should certainly try to figure out a great way to get under 250 gram FPV devices out there, so that we can optimize the exploitation of this Category 1 with 107. And it'll be useful for folks in Canada. And we know that this is going to be a sweet spot from a product perspective in Europe. And so from a view of, okay, so that's where around the world we see, or at least Western Europe and North America, we see legislation coalescing around a size, and it also will be a lower price point. To me, this is something that's like, okay, if we could use that as a wedge in FPV and with regulations, that to me it would be a positive. One of the in one of the first paragraphs in the agenda this evening, I'm anxious that the FAA's solution to hobbyists, at least FPV, may simply be everyone has to have a 107. And then they've satisfied the 2018 reauthorization stipulation from Congress that says that the FAA has to put a knowledge test in place for everyone flying for a UAS. And so if they simply push FPV to designated site flying, and everyone else has to pass a 107, then to me one of the responses should be, let's make under 250 gram universal, and anything we can do to encourage it to be easy to use, easy to purchase, easy to get up and learn, try to create some level of ubiquity in that device.
I think the part about this that kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth is that recreational pilots don't necessarily need all the information that comes from a 107. And I think from that standpoint, I don't know if other people agree, but I honestly think that recreational should have its own test, that's a little easier of a knowledge basis to get into, because I think Part 107 is really going to cut off the younger generation, the kids coming into the field and that kind of thing, that it's gonna put a barrier up in my mind.
That's a great. I applaud that response, because I cannot envision many 12 or 13-year-olds, taking on a 107 exam. They're just too hard, too much. Forget it. I got other things that are easier and more fun. And sure, there'll be the anomaly. Some like we had one in a local AMA club. Kid's now a multi-engine pilot, and I think he's 20. But those are the outliers. So I agree with you completely. So
Yeah, I just think, and I think you're right in pushing the, it honestly, in my mind, it's going to be, for the most part, it's going to be, 3-inch quads and below that are going to fall under that 250 grams, unless we can somehow just shave a bunch of weight. But even still, I have an extremely lightweight quad that does 200 plus miles an hour, but once you get all the motors and everything on there, it's over that 250 mark, and it's literally made up of all 2 millimeter carbon fiber.
Yep.
Yeah, I really hope it doesn't go the way of the Part 107. That I agree. That doesn't sound like the great way to go. But with the 250 gram thing, someone's got to come up with a really clever either pre-built or a frame with the name. I don't know, some sort of like, no rules don't apply to me, or no laws, or something.
the FPV buster or something, or the FA buster or something.
The Bandito.
Yeah.
And if you guys haven't watched it yet, Drone and Sundry this week had a pretty good episode where they talked a lot about the Canadian rules, and one of the guests on the show took the test and talked a little bit about what the test was like, even though he couldn't say what the questions were because that's against the rules, but they did talk about it a bit.
Drone and Sundry.
Yes.
That's a YouTube channel?
A YouTube channel, right. I should have mentioned that.
No, that's okay. I'm the old guy. It's okay. just trying to keep up.
Now be careful, it's a live stream.
I know.
Just make sure you're ready.
Dan's recording me.
We need to get you a secretary that just feeds you technology.
Well, I'm reasonably technically adept.
I know. I'm just teasing you.
Yep. Okay. So good. And so then I think one of our because I don't think, as we were commenting earlier, the AMA is, they're completely content. There's no need to to push the FAA at this point, as long as they've got the okay for recreational flight in designated fields. Life is good. So for us to pursue Section 349 with its own test, and to keep some longevity to that section of the bill, I think that definitely is a high priority objective.
Yeah, I can't imagine being locked to a designated flying site. I mean, there's a couple here, but I'd have to drive to the other side of town to even get there. And in Phoenix, that's a long drive.
Yep. Yeah. In Austin, Texas, it was I think about an hour for me to go fly a model airplane, and it cramps your style. Definitely. I mean, how frequently could I do that with young family?
Absolutely.
All right. Good. I like the thought process there. Let me take some notes on that. Talked to Chad today about moving forward on how do we, as we increase the communications, I anticipate that we'll get some level of interest from folks again. I don't expect a groundswell, but I'm hoping for some. And propose the I'd like to propose the idea of we come up with a couple of discussion points, talk it through. Maybe it's we work on some of the feedback points. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's just this. Maybe it's remote identification. And to create and to continue a dialogue, and to this is in the spirit of you know, we've got a recorded meeting. Maybe we want to keep it short so that it's possible for folks to listen to it and digest it. And then separately, we run a business meeting for FPV FC, and that's this group. Would that be acceptable to everyone on the phone?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Good to me.
All right. And I, I'm a little sensitive to recording. That's just my history, and so this would certainly make me happy. Okay. Pursue. As I'm thinking about bouncing back to that knowledge test for recreational flyers, FPV flyers. There's no. I'm trying to think in the AMA. There's no test. They have something like a conduct or rules of code of conduct, something of that nature, which is it's all about safety, and which is good, and but it also includes a couple of rules. No 400 foot must fly under 400 feet. No aircraft can fly without a waiver above 55 pounds. You cannot put any rockets, armament, drop anything out of an aircraft, model aircraft. I mean, so it's things of that nature. So that's probably worth perusing to see if we want to use that as roughly a template. Frankly, I think we've got some good ideas as we just look at our safety guidelines. Is okay. So is there much more that we need to quiz people on? I don't think there is, but that might be a place that I'll go look and see if what are some other areas we might want to include on a test for recreational FPV flyers. And my obvious, where am I going with this? First conversation with someone from, who's responsible for this at the FAA would be, well, we know, and a number of us want to pursue or already have a 107, and we think a recreational FPV operator could get along with a lot less. And oh, by the way, here's an example of a lot less that we've worked on and gained the community's consensus on.
Yeah, I think anything we do in regards to the FAA, we need to have that conversation, but we need to have the example or the solution in our back pocket to whip out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think you're right. I think we've got a good starting point with the safety guidelines. I think there may be a couple other things and even stuff outside of flying, in terms of like battery safety and whatnot that we could include. Just for safety's sake, I guess, with all the fires I've seen and whatnot. So
yeah,
I
like
think there's
I like that.
there's some stuff we can include there to just help protect people and make it relevant to everything we're doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I see some of the lunatic things like guys trying to charge alkaline batteries, or why do I really need a balanced charger? I just chopped apart this wall wart, and it seems to be doing just fine, charging 12 volts into my 1S lipo and stuff like that. And just my hair turns white. All right. Okay. FPV guys as a start, and I'll take a look at the Dave 2. Okay. That was my very quiet, non-gamer Logitech keyboard in the background. All right. Anything that's all I had. Did any other glancing through the agenda or anything else on anyone's mind?
Did any of you see the link I dropped? This is going back to the Canadian stuff and the international regulations earlier this week of the Digital Drone Collective. I don't know. You should
No.
take a look at that website. They were soliciting some feedback via Reddit earlier this week. I don't quite understand who they are or what they are, but some collaboration with the Canadian Transport Agency.
Okay. I saw the note just before we signed on. I apologize for not looking at it more closely. There it is, Digital Drone Collective. Yeah, and look, the photographs look goofy. I was like, what are they? Let's all sit down on the floor and take photographs. I was like, what? Ooh, I mean, they could all be wonderful, people accomplishing great things, but the optics are like, oh my gosh.
A different style than what you're used to.
Yeah, that's that's fair. That's certainly fair. Yeah, and this is to me one of our strengths. I was thinking about this from the perspective of, we've got, definitely FAA and the bureaucracy that we'll be working with is staid, to say it nicely, and yet our FPV community is not, and so to have the FPVFC having both leading it, I think is an advantage.
There's not a whole lot of info on their site in terms of what they are doing.
Also, click on where it says the word tasked is a link to a quick YouTube video about them as well.
Let's see.
Hidden in the first paragraph.
Task. Oh, hey, there it is. Okay, fancy.
And
Not that really gives you a whole lot more information, but a little bit.
Okay, I'm gonna have to dig through this and see what they're up to. I don't know if these people are with the new codes or against them. It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, I don't know. They're a collaboration with the Transport Canada, who puts out the rules, and they were tasked with getting some feedback about them, I believe. So
interesting.
Posted a question asking, who are you? How'd you get into drones? Where do you fly? It came across really odd on Reddit for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just data collection is what that is. They're creating profiles for people.
Huh. Interesting.
Let me do some digging.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, Dan, for bringing that up. Anything else? Anyone?
You do mention the in the board meeting section, the agenda, has that been posted anywhere or?
Nope.
Okay.
I talked to. Did I send you a PowerPoint with the agenda?
Yeah, you linked a 2-page PowerPoint earlier in our other chat.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the most detail that exists on the agenda. I also talked to Chad Capper today about it and got his blessing to go ahead and get this done. So Josh, I'd like to work with you on the agenda, and um, um, I plan on obsessing a little bit on the agenda so that it's crisp, professional, and orchestrated from a time management perspective. And we'll have 3 CEOs on the call, for an hour, and we don't want to waste their time.
No.
And we're, as I was always taught, when you've got that sort of horsepower in the room, don't neglect it. We should be asking for something. So we'll be coming up with a request. If for nothing, certainly, for their vote and approval. It may be tacit that we ask for donations, or we talk up funding, and I have no problem, asking for an order, but we'll want to ask for something, and it may simply be that we want their participation, or certainly we need an accountant, and if either of them know of an accountant that it has experience with nonprofits, or things of that nature.
Correct.
And we'll also have we've got an attorney on the board as well, James Mackler, as
Okay.
part of.
Yeah, then I think we do need to be a little obsessive about it because, yeah, we definitely don't want to. Yeah.
No, we won't. Yeah, and I'm completely comfortable. This is the more staid.
Yeah.
This is definitely my wheelhouse.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to work my courage up for that one. So there you go.
No, we will shine. All right, but I'll be in touch.
Hey guys, I'm sorry. I know I feel like a lurker. I've been
Creeper.
I joined the call,
Oh.
but then I got a phone call, so I've missed a lot of it. But I am here off and on, so I apologize.
Okay. We were about to wrap up. Any comments or from anything you did here, Chad? Anything?
No, I chimed in, or I got in early enough to see the Digital Drone Collective. That's kind of interesting. But yeah, I'll just catch up on the notes.
Okay. It gets the minutes are. You should have a link to them. Of note is this past Saturday we did talk about dues, and we pegged adult at $40 annual and a youth at $20 annual.
Mm-hmm.
We also talked about a founding member for a number limited to probably the first 100, and we're thinking of $75 level, and the membership that would include an adult membership plus a challenge coin.
Oh, okay. And then what? So what does the standard membership? Are we working on? What's the offering? I guess.
Right.
We have to talk about that.
Okay.
We haven't cleared that yet.
Okay. So, all right. Well,
Good.
glad I got to talk to you guys a little bit.
Yeah, no problem.
Hi, Chad.
We know we know your day goes from early to late.
Yeah.
Congratulations on Florida, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Well, don't congratulate us yet till we get moved in. But
Look, hey, no, it's time for congratulations.
well,
This
thank
is the
you.
Absolutely.
We're
Absolutely.
moving closer to the mouse, which means I've got to move down there now.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be right by the airport, so it'd be easy to get to Rotor Riot.
You're speaking my tune right there.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Anything else around the room?
I'm good.
Okay, very good. Thank you all. Once again, I leave this call excited, and as tough as a 9 to 10 call is, I'm really appreciative of the time and energy you all are putting in, and thank you again, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
And I'll close
Thanks,
the call.
everyone.
Take care.
Thanks, guys.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.